Good morning, dear hearts, and congratulations. We have made it to our final review lesson for our first review in part 1 of the workbook, lesson 60. Please subscribe. Please send this to other people for them to subscribe. That would be lovely. And the word, or words actually, for today are sustained, which means supported. And of course, we must have forgiveness for this group of lessons, because forgiveness, as we were told in one of our earlier lessons, is the great need in this world. And these lessons blended, these 5 lessons blended together, show us the benefits that we will have when we forgive and how we will be supported in our forgiveness practice. So, our first review lesson is God is the love in which I forgive. God does not forgive because he has never condemned. And there must be a condemnation before forgiveness is necessary. The blameless cannot blame, and those who have accepted their innocence see nothing to forgive. When we know who we are, when we know we are that sinless, guiltless, perfect child of God, then we will have no more grievances or judgments, so we will no longer need to forgive because we're not gathering up anything that will need forgiveness. Yet forgiveness is the means by which I will recognize my innocence. It is the reflection of God's love on earth. And just how beautiful that is. That is what forgiveness is. It reflects God's love because it shows us the innocence that is in our brother when we forgive. When we forgive, now I can see the reflection of God here and now. Forgiveness will bring me near enough to heaven that the love of God can reach down and raise me up to him. And what a beautiful image that is, for us to be just swept up and brought home and embraced by our Father. That is where forgiveness will lead me. God is the strength in which I trust. It's not my own strength through which I forgive, because of my own I really have no strength. But to forgive and to forgive completely takes strength. Forgiveness is not for the faint of heart. It is through the strength of God in me that I am remembering as I forgive. As I begin to see, I recognize God's reflection on earth, the reflection of God's love on earth. And as I forgive, I start to see that. I forgive all things because I feel the stirring of his strength in me. And I begin to remember the love I chose to forget. We've always been loved by our Father, but we, with that tiny mad idea that seemed reasonable at the time, we have forgotten so many things. It is time with and through our forgiveness that we will remember. The love I chose to forget, but which has not forgotten me. And we spoke of this the other day, how all of these things that we have put aside, thinking they were not necessary, have all been saved for us. And love has been saved for us. The love that we forgot, we chose to forget, has been saved for us to have it when we are ready to remember. And through God's strength, we will become strong enough to forgive and to remember. God supports us in finding that strength that is within. The third lesson that we're reviewing, there's nothing to fear. Love this lesson. There's nothing to fear. Just repeat that to ourselves day after day, hour after hour. There's nothing to fear, because in this world, as I open up my eyes, and as it says, how safe the world will look to me when I see it, because right now, everything that I look at is terrifying. The world that I made through the images that were the thoughts in my mind is awful. It's just filled with fear. It is filled with hatred. It is filled with it is filled with demons, as it seems, but that is not the real world. With forgiveness and strength, I will at last be able to see the real world, and I will be blessed. And with that blessing, I will receive grace from everyone and everything, and then I will share that grace. The lesson says again, how safe the world will look to me when I can see it. It will not look like anything like what I imagine I see now. Again, it's imaginary, it is an illusion, but it certainly seems real, doesn't it? Everyone and everything I see will lean toward me to bless me. So just as heaven will lean down and come nearer to me, then everything will lean toward me. So God will swoop all of us up because we will all be together, because we will recognize our oneness. And I will recognize in everyone, my dearest, my sweetest friend. I will recognize in everyone the Holy Spirit. I will recognize in everyone the light from my elder brother. And what could there be to fear in a world that I have forgiven and has forgiven me? I am sustained in forgiveness and my forgiveness practiced by this dear, sweet friend that has been given me by my celestial parent, my source, my creator, God, Great Spirit. God's voice speaks to me all through the day is our fourth lesson. So I'm just going to read from it first because the fourth and the fifth lessons are just so beautiful. And then I'll see what I can add into them. There is not a moment in which God's voice ceases to call on my forgiveness to save me, my forgiveness. There is not a moment in which his voice fails to direct my thoughts, guide my actions, and lead my feet. Voice is capitalized. It is the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the voice for God. I am walking steadily on toward truth. There is nowhere else I can go because God's voice is the only voice and the only guide that has been given to his child. The guidance of God's voice is leading us in thought, word, and deed. And my guide supports my journey home, which started with forgiveness. And our final lesson, I am sustained by the love of God. And that really much says everything. As I listen to God's voice, I am sustained by his love. As I open my eyes, his love lights up the world for me to see. As I forgive, his love reminds me that his Son is sinless. And as I look upon the world with the vision that he has given me, I remember that I am indeed his son, his child. We are so loved. We are so loved by our Creator that she lights up everything for us to see, for us to see the innocence in our brother, for us to see the innocence in ourselves, for us to see this world differently, with light in it, not as it looks, not as I have made it, but as it truly is meant to be. So this lesson, I'm sustained by the love of God, reminds me consistently of his presence forever in my life. And that's it, except I just want to go over the review words that we used for these 10 lessons. And our first one was judgment. The second one was the past. Third was meaningless. The fourth was to think, see. We can't really separate them. The fifth one was seeing. Then we had shift. Then we had the progression of the prison break, and our freedom. Then we had holiness and wholeness. Again, they are synonymous. God was yesterday's, and today we have sustained, supported forgiveness. And that's all. So I hope this helped. I hope you enjoyed this review. We start tomorrow with new lessons. It's a giant stride. We'll talk about that then. Like, share, subscribe, comment. smile, smile, be proud of yourself. You've come this far, and breathe in these words of wisdom that are becoming more and more a part of who we are. Namaste.